Howdy folks, Driller here. We're here today to talk about the CZ527 rifle. Talk about a little bit of the features of the rifle, kind of the philosophy around the rifle, because it's kind of an interesting little carbine. Size, weight, all that kind of stuff. So here she is, CZ527 and 7.62x39mm. You'll notice it has a front hooded sight with fiber optic sight in there. I'm not a huge fan of fiber optic sights just because I've seen a lot of them fall apart. So they do tend to kind of give out after a while. I prefer just kind of your standard bead sight because they're reliable. They actually stay together. So we'll see how long this one lasts, and then I'll probably replace it with a bead sight. The rear sight here. It's a nice little rear sight. It's not adjustable, which is a little depressing for me. I'd like to see kind of a similar style, like ladder sight, kind of like what the VZ58 has on it, where you can adjust it between 1 and 800 meters. That's what I'd like to see on this rifle, but unfortunately it's not adjustable. So we'll see maybe if somebody comes out with an aftermarket adjustable sight for that. That'd be nice. Because I prefer to just use irons because it keeps the rifle light and simple, and irons are usually pretty hard to break. As we move further back, you'll see there's a magazine here. It's detachable. The rifle comes with bottom metal from factory, so you don't have to worry about spending hundreds of dollars to buy aftermarket bottom metal like you do for most other things. And detachable magazines are 5 rounds. So far, CZ or anyone else, they don't make anything above 5 rounds. I'd love to see a 7 and a 10 round magazine, and some people have asked for a 3 round magazine as well. So it'd be nice if they made more, make different capacity magazines, but 5 is fine for most uses. I guess we're at the bolt here. So we'll talk about that. It's a Mauser style bolt, but it's short, an inch or 2 shorter than the standard short action, which is nice. It makes operating the bolt much quicker, which I like. It makes this rifle kind of a good competitor for a scout type rifle, which is great. It's got kind of the dovetail for the sights. I think it's CZ specific though. I don't think you can use just standard rings on it. You have to buy the CZ ones or get CZ bases, or like a base that's for the CZ. So that's kind of unfortunate, but oh well, that's the way she goes. I'll probably put a scope on it for hunting and stuff, or just might use this as kind of like a budget, like medium range precision rifle. So I might do some hand loading and stuff, or just use the steel case surplus. And yes, I will be shooting corrosive out of this rifle, but if you've used corrosive before, you know if you clean it properly, it's not an issue. You just got to clean it the same day. Pour some boiling water down the barrel. Let it dry, and put some wipes through. Make sure you get all the guck out. Clean the action a bit, and then she's good to go again. So I do it all the time on my VZ58, and I haven't seen a spot of rust on it. So, anyways. Bolt handle's nice, got a little ball on it, and the action's really smooth. It's really nice, no issues there. The trigger's really nice. This rifle has a set trigger, so what that is if I cock the rifle here, it's obviously safe. I've verified that, and we've ran the action a few times. You can push this trigger forward, and you might have heard that click. That's the set trigger. It's basically a hair trigger. So when you push that forward and it clicks, then all you have to do is touch it and it goes off. I noticed with this particular rifle, I don't know if it's the same for all CZ527s, maybe it's just this one from the factory. The trigger pull, the regular trigger pull without using that set trigger is really light. Like, it's actually nicer than the actual set trigger itself. So I'll just be using that. I'm not going to bother with the set trigger. The safety here, people have complained about before. It's kind of the opposite. Usually you push it forward to fire. This one's actually push forward to safe and pull back to fire. But if you have it in safe and you've got it kind of in your hands and you go up, it actually is kind of a more natural kind of movement to pull back and put it on fire and aim. So I kind of like that. It's just kind of like a training issue. I think we'll talk about the stock a bit here. The stock I'm not too pleased with. I looked at 3 different rifles in the store because the one on display had the stock touching the barrel, and as you can probably see, this one does too, and so did the other ones I looked at. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of stock inletting with this synthetic stock, and it does move around a little bit if you push it, but I ran a $5 bill through earlier, and it does appear to barely kind of clear it. So it is technically free floating, however I'd like that to be a little bit further away from the barrel, so I'll probably inlet the right side of the stock a little bit. Not a deal breaker, because I obviously still bought the rifle, but it is annoying that I have to work on the rifle to make it the way I want. It'd be nice if it came from factory that way. The reason I chose the synthetic stock over the wood, because you might know that CZ uses some pretty nice walnut and stuff with that those Turkish stocks, is that I'm kind of more partial to synthetic, because wood can, for one thing, when you buy a new rifle and the wood gets dented or scratched or whatever, it practically breaks my heart. So with a synthetic stock, you can bump it around and stuff and not feel too guilty about it. The synthetic stock version is cheaper too. My local store had it for $775 new, and I've seen used ones go for more than that. So I bought it. That's part of the reason I went and got it today. Kind of a bit of an impulse purchase, followed me home, but that's okay. One thing I do like is I first saw it on Tikka, so I'll say Tikka style button release for the bolt. So when you pull the bolt out, you can press this button, it takes the bolt out. It's just so simple, instead of getting confused and trying to figure out how the hell you take the bolt out on half the bolt action rifles there are out there. So it's nice and simple. It's really light. It's about, I think if I remember correctly, it's like 5.5, 6 pounds unloaded. Which is nice and light. My VZ58 is just over 7 pounds unloaded without a magazine and stuff. So this is a pound lighter, and it's noticeable. I've kind of put them both side by side and been like, oh yeah, this is nice and light. So yeah, so this will make a really fun just plinking rifle, hunting rifle, short range to medium range hunting rifle, depending on the game. You could use it as a kind of a prepper rifle if you wanted to, or a scout roll, because it does take that 7.62x39, which is cheap and widely available, at least at the moment. You can get it for about 20 cents a round, so I kind of stockpiled up on it. And it's nice to be able to, if you're kind of tactical style rifle that you use, or semi-automatic rifles in 7.62x39, it's nice to have cross-platform using the same ammo. So bolt action and my semi-auto use the same ammo, which is nice. I don't have to worry about stocking up on ammo for 2 different calibers, which isn't that big of a deal. But this will make a nice medium range precision rifle, actually, if you put a scope on it and stuff. A lot of people say 7.62x39 is no good past 100 meters or something. It's ridiculous. Maybe it's useless out to 800 meters, which when I got my VZ58, I kind of laughed. I was looking at the ladder sight because it goes out to 800 meters. Good luck hitting anything at that range with 7.62x39. But I've shot that VZ58 out to 500 meters, man-sized steel targets. No issues. So that's why I was hoping for adjustable sights on this rifle. But it doesn't have them, which is okay, I guess. I'll just have to learn kind of the drops, which is kind of still fun to do anyways, and at different ranges. And yeah, I like grouping multiple rifle rolls into one, so this could be a hunting, precision, practice rifle, plinker. You can take youth out to shoot it because it doesn't have much recoil. Yeah. So that's kind of the philosophy of use for the rifle. I mean, it does fill a scout roll pretty well. Obviously, it doesn't take stripper clips. So I mean, it doesn't technically qualify as a scout rifle, but if you bought a few magazines for it, you'd be fine. And I think a scout scope would go well on this rifle, because if I hold the rifle right here, it's butt heavy, which actually I prefer anyways. But if you want your rifle to be perfectly balanced, if you mounted a scout scope on it, it would probably be pretty closely balanced. But I like my balance in the rear because when you're holding the rifle up, most of that weight's in the back, so it's not that big of a deal to hold it up for extended periods of time. Yeah, so one other thing I want to talk about real quick that I didn't mention before is the texturing on the stock. It's got a little bit of texturing on the foregrip here. You might be able to see it, and on the hand grip on the bottom here. It's pretty good. The stock is kind of like rubbery feeling, so it'd be nice in cold weather. It probably wouldn't feel that cold on the hand, which is another reason to get synthetic or wood. Rifles, like if I was hunting with my VZ58, I'd probably have cold hands because I'm touching metal the whole time, essentially. So it's nice to have traditional style stocks in that sense. Yeah, it does feel a little bit rubbery. It's got a texture to it, and I'm not talking about the grip texture. It's got like a, I don't know what I would call it. It's just kind of like a, I don't want to call it a rough texture, but it's not a smooth texture. So it's kind of varies. Kind of cool looking actually. I like that. But really, basically this rifle is like a really good compact bush rifle or truck rifle. Especially if you don't want to, if you hunt with some FUD types who, you know, always bash your black rifles or whatever because they're evil and useless and blah blah blah. You know, who wants to keep friends like that anyway? But you can get one of these, and it's fun to just, you have a bolt action. I love bolt action rifles. They're so much fun to shoot. You're way more engaged in the operation of the rifle, and it's just much more fun to shoot. Like especially for action shooting, you set a few targets up. You know, you do a little bit of run and gunning. I find personally that I have more fun with the bolt action than a semi-auto, because a semi-auto does the work for you. It's fun, and you can do rapid fire if you want, but rapid fire is not actually practical. It's just kind of fun, and it's fun in that sense. But if you want to be precise and efficient, a bolt action, I think, is the way to go. And if you're, let's say you're like me, I'm a student right now, so I can't afford a ton of different firearms and stuff. I'm always buying, selling, and trading. I'm always looking for that kind of perfect rifle that fills all those multiple roles, so I don't have to have multiple firearms. This is pretty much fills most roles. I mean, you can use it for precision shooting. You can use it for, and when I say precision shooting, I'm referring to medium range. Up to 500 meters is probably as far as I would go. You can use it for hunting. You can use it for run and gun fun stuff. You can use it for plinking cans. You can shoot gophers with this if you want. You can, and like you can spend a day shooting and it doesn't break the bank too. Like I've had scout rifles similar to this, like the Ruger Gunsight Scout, and to feed that thing, it's, when I reload, it's about somewhere between 60 to 75 cents a shot, and that's when I'm trying to get components that are cheap. And that's not cheap. That adds up if you're going for a day of shooting. So with this guy, it's 20 cents a shot if you're using surplus, and if you reload, it's probably not as bad as 308 because you're using less powder, you're using lighter, cheaper bullets, all that kind of stuff. And you can get FMJ for pretty cheap just because there's less components in it. So I would, if I had to guess, it's probably hopefully under 50 cents a round to reload for this rifle with half decent components. But yeah, it's a nice rifle. I'll give you a look at the other side here. So you can see that button I was talking about for the releasing the bolt. And it's got this nice, you know, made in Czech Republic, CZ527 carbine. I think that looks nice. And it's got some stamps on the other side, right on the barrel right here. And yeah, I really think this is a neat rifle, and I hope to make some videos of shooting it in the future and kind of testing its accuracy and stuff. So if you're kind of on the fence about getting this rifle, I'd say get it. I haven't shot it yet, but I'm assuming it works based on other people's experience. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.